wherever you're watching us in Kenya and around the world. This is Prime Edition.
Coming to you live from Broadcasting House in Nairobi, Kenya.
Good evening. My name is Mboya.
And I am Muchuma Odim.
And here is a look at our top stories tonight. Police IG ordered to appear in court over missing abductees as one of the released abductees organizes a public thanksgiving.
Sealing off panya routes. Sealing off panya routes.
Enhanced security surveillance along Kenya-Uganda border seals off 200 illegal entry routes. Looming crisis.
Clinical officers issues a 14-day strike notice over a return to work deal. Thank you for joining us. Our social at KBC Channel 1. And our sign language expert tonight is Brian Muraru.
Straight to our lead story now. The deployment of security apparatus along the 57-kilometer stretch between Kenya and Uganda border has seen over 200 illegal routes closed. This is according to the Ministry of Interior and National Administration.
A multi-agency team comprising the General Service Unit, Kenya Defence Forces and General Duty Police that conducts routine surveillance along the border entry points established the illegal routes were used to smuggle forged documents and drugs into the country.
Abdiaziz Hashim opens our coverage with that report.
In an effort to combat cross-border crimes along the western region and along the Kenya-Uganda border, a multi-agency team comprising of the General Service Unit, Kenya Defence Forces and General Duty Police that conducts routine surveillance regularly have managed to close down 200 illegal routes used to smuggle in forged documents and drugs among other illegal consignments into the country. Counterfeits and contrabands including sugar, maize, alcohol, ethanol and pharmaceutical drugs were also confiscated by border control authorities. In a bid to enhance border security, the government has constructed a stop border post supported by an upgrade of 45-kilometer Kitale-Endebe-Swam Road for 4.9 billion shillings to facilitate integrated border management and foster legitimate trade routes in a bid to expose criminal elements sabotaging the security of both nations. The Kenya and Uganda governments have also initiated joint border commissioners meetings to deliberate and enhance cross-border cooperation in curbing small arms, illegal migration and natural resource-based conflicts among border communities.
Haitawezekana mwanakandarasi yoyote kupokea pesa za umma na kuchelewesha miradi ya serikali. Tutachukua hatua papo hapo. Hakuna kungojea.
At the same time, the government is intensifying efforts to complete the upgrading of the Swam border post into a modern one-stop border post to enhance border trade and movement of goods and people between Kenya and Uganda.
And therefore, trade between Kenya and Uganda is extremely crucial for the government and the people of Kenya because much of our regional trade is generated between in the business interactions between ourselves and our brothers and sisters from Uganda.
Once operational, the facility is expected to significantly reduce delays, cut costs and foster deeper integration between Kenya and Uganda, benefiting businesses and citizens on both sides of the border. Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
From security to health watch now, the Ministry of Health has ruled out the potential outbreak of the human metapneumovirus, also known as HMPV, that was reported in China.
In a statement on its social media platforms, the ministry confirmed that no case of patients with symptoms of the disease has been reported in the country's health facilities.
Here's Joseph Wahungu with the latest on the virus.
And the elderly, HMPV, a virus that causes mild upper respiratory tract infection, was first identified in the Netherlands in 2001. The virus spreads through direct contact between people or when someone touches surfaces contaminated with it. Its symptoms for most people include cough, fever, and nasal congestion. In response to the situation in China, the Ministry of Health has, in a statement on X, reassured Kenyans that HMPV is not a new virus, since it has been documented in the past as a circulating pathogen that contributes to respiratory illnesses in the country. Additionally, the ministry has urged Kenyans to remain vigilant and observe basic public health practices. It further advises anyone experiencing unusual cases of severe respiratory illnesses to seek medical attention from the nearest health facility as soon as possible or call 719. Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
All right, so from Health Watch to the state of distribution of books, the Kenya Publishers Association now says the distribution of grade 9 textbooks to public schools is in the final stages.
According to the association's chairperson, Kiarie Kamau, the distribution is at 85% and is expected to be concluded on Monday of next week.
Now, and as Timothy Kipnos reports, the association has warned parents and teachers against purchasing pirated books.
On the second day of the 2025 academic year, schools are pulling all stops to ensure transition of grade 9 learners, the challenges notwithstanding. From incomplete classrooms, scarcity of desks, and in some cases, textbooks. The Kenya Publishers Association has come out to clear the air on the grade 9 distribution.
That exercise of distributing the grade 9 books has been ongoing throughout December, and we can confidently say more than 85% of those textbooks are already in public primary schools.
Speaking in Nairobi, the association chairperson Kiarie Kamau noted that some institutions were limiting themselves to books not approved by the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, KICD.
What the KICD does is in a learning area, it approves a variety of books. You can find, let's say, in grade 3 mathematics, there are about 7 different textbooks approved. What schools are supposed to do, and they know, and most of them do that, is they constitute panels. The panels go through the books and select one that they will use. So we are again encouraging institutions not to limit themselves, but to look at the variety that has been approved by the KICD.
The association at the same time warned parents and teachers not to abet piracy of textbooks.
This council here has been working with the Kenya Copyright Board as well as the Anti-Counterfeit Agency to fight this menace, and we encourage members of the press to also help us in fighting the menace. The DCI is also hot on the heels of all those pirates to ensure that pirated books, counterfeit books, do not find their way into institutions. We are conducting raids. You know, we have enlisted the services of investigators working very closely with the DCI. We identify channels where those books are being printed and distributed, and we are raiding.
All schools are expected to have received textbook by Monday, January 13, 2025. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
On to that story that we highlighted at the beginning of this live broadcast. Billy Mwangi, one of the young Kenyans who was released by his abductors, says that he is thankful for the support showed by Kenyans in the push for his freedom.
Meanwhile, Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja is expected to appear in court on Wednesday to explain the mysterious abductions in the country in a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya and Busia Senator Okia Omtata.
That case is scheduled to kick off at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow.
Billy Mwangi has spoken publicly for the first time as he shared light-hearted moments with his mother, Regina Wairimo, and other family members. Although he acknowledged the challenges he endured during his time in captivity, he refrained from sharing further details, citing mental distress.
Simu aliweza kuchukua. Kwa sasa sina any mobile device. Hata iwe ndogo iwe kubwa, hata laptop sina. So I'm pledging that those guys who are using my name, Jina Billy Mwangi, Jina Psycho Sins, please they should refrain from using that name. That's not me. Siko Twitter. I'm no longer interested in Twitter for now.
To mark his freedom, the family has organized a Thanksgiving service, which is scheduled for Sunday. This coming ahead of the case hearing on Wednesday, after the Law Society of Kenya and Busia Senator Okiya Omtatah petitioned the court to order the state to release the abductees who went missing during the Christmas festive season.
The chief executive of the country has actually gone on record to say, yes, these children will be released provided you, parents, teach them how to behave.
High Court Judge Bahati Mwamunye directed the Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja to be physically in court at 11 a.m. on Wednesday with the abductees, saying he was personally responsible. If the 5 released abductees will be produced in court is a matter of wait and see. However, some of those who abducted, including Steve Mbisi, Paul Muema, Martin Mwau, and Justin Musimi, all abducted on 17th December 2024 in Mlolongo, are reportedly still missing. National Transport and Safety Authority Director General is also expected to produce details of owners of the vehicles used in the abductions. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has formally sought to have his name expunged from the 2 petitions filed against the state, which allege his involvement in the abductions of government critics.
The IG is an independent constitutional office that only takes directions on matters investigation from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. It does not take directions from the Office of the Cabinet Secretary for Interior.
Giverson Maina, Prime Edition.
Now, what are the legislators saying about the recent spate of abductions in the country?
A section of members of parliament allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now wants an independent commission of inquiry formed to investigate cases of alleged abductions and land grabbing.
Led by Kiambu Senator Karungo Thangwa, the lawmakers say that the police cannot be trusted to unravel the mystery of the reported cases of abductions of perceived critics of government. Hence, the need to have a commission of inquiry.
Here is that report.
Following the denial by the police service of any involvement in the abduction of government critics, MPs allied to the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now want a commission of inquiry formed to investigate the abductions.
We are calling for the formation of a public commission of inquiry led by an independent body to investigate abductions, politicization of police, resurgence of criminal gangs, land grabbing, and state capture.
We also appreciate the ICC quick response in opening the portal for reporting human rights abuses by the state actors and other collaborators in setting early stage of collating the data ready for the eventuality.
Sentiments echoed by the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who on his X page wrote, "We must get to the bottom of these gross human rights violations, identify and prosecute everyone involved in these abductions and extrajudicial killings, and ensure this will never happen again." The MPs also want the Commission of Inquiry to investigate increased cases of land grabbing, particularly in Kiambu and Nakuru counties.
We urge both the National Assembly and the Senate, and also all country county assemblies across the nation to convene a special session during recess to discuss and conduct inquiries into these abductions.
In Homa Bay County, Area Woman Representative Joyce Bensouda also condemned the abduction of perceived government critics, calling on state agencies to find alternative approaches to address dissent.
Abduction is not a solution. We want to condemn this in the strongest terms possible. Whoever is doing it, whether it's a local person, a layman, the police, the DCI must take charge. The IG must be in control.
The 6 young critics abducted 2 weeks ago have since been released. Gishok Washira, Prime Edition.
Let's move away now from the abduction riddle to that story that we teased at the beginning of this broadcast as well. A fresh strike is looming in the health sector following a 14-day ultimatum issued by the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers to government, citing delayed implementation of the return to work formula signed in September of last year.
Led by National Chairperson Peterson Washira, the officers also accused the Social Health Authority, SHA, of discrimination.
They claim that clinical officers cannot practice under the new health insurance model. Why? Because of the failure of the Social Health Authority Board to recognize the health facilities registered by Clinical Officers Council.
Health facilities across the country are headed for paralysis if the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers make good their threat of downing tools on Sunday, January 19th, 2025.
Solidarity forever, solidarity forever.
Among the key provisions of the return to work deal that are unimplemented include the negotiation of a comprehensive collective bargaining agreement, promotions and job reclassifications, confirmation of universal health coverage staff into permanent and pensionable terms, comprehensive medical cover for all clinical officers, and conversion of all short-term contractual employment for clinical officers into permanent and pensionable terms.
The ministry and the county governments have not fully implemented the return to work agreement, given that the deadline for implementation was the first day of September 2024. We have done numerous letters, they have refused to respond, and that is why we are here today to call them to account, and by that declare that we are calling for a strike in the next 14 days. All the clinic officers under the 47 counties under the Ministry of Health shall proceed on strike as from the midnight of 19th January 2024.
The officials further alleged that the Social Health Authority Board has refused to recognize health facilities and practitioners registered under the Clinical Officers Council.
The Social Health Authority, with the help of the leadership of the ministry, is doing all it can be able to do to go against the tenets of the UHC. While the law provides that they are supposed to empanel and contract and allow clinic officers to pre-authorize, they have refused to do that. They have gone against the law.
This discrimination, therefore, hinders the practice of clinical officers and causes widespread suffering among Kenyans who are denied essential services provided by clinical officers. Many are forced to pay out of pocket for healthcare services, despite being registered member of the Social Health Authority.
Kenya Union of Clinical Officers Secretary General George Bore also lamented that clinical officers are being coerced to license their facilities with the Kenya Medical Practitioners Dentist Council to benefit from the Social Health Authority.
The specialist clinical officers are being compelled to use the KMPDC, that the Kenya Medical Practitioner and Dentist Council license number, from the medical officers for pre-authorization and practice that is both illegal and extortionate. We regard this action as forms of institutionalized corruption and self-interest that hinders the provision of accessible health services.
The contentious agreement was signed in July last year after the clinical officers went on strike for 99 days. For Prime Edition, I'm Abdulaziz Abeid.
From Mombasa, let's now take you to Ghana. President John Dramani Mahama has officially assumed office as Ghana's leader, marking his return to the presidency after previously serving from 2012 to 2017.
President Mahama was sworn in Tuesday in a ceremony held at the Black Star Square in Accra.
President William Ruto is among 21 heads of state and government officials who attended the inauguration.
Opicho Chemtai reports.
In his inaugural address, President John Dramani Mahama outlined his vision for Ghana's economic revival, inclusivity and governance reforms. He emphasized accountability, innovation and unity, calling on Ghanaians to join him in a national reset to build a more prosperous and resilient country.
We need to strengthen our ties with our neighbors to ensure that we're working together to keep our sub-region safe. We stand in solidarity and work in alliance with all our neighbors in the sub-region.
Let me be the first. Mahama, who started his political career as the communications minister, won the presidential election in December last year after pledging to tackle the economic crisis, corruption and unemployment.
Today should mark the beginning of a new opportunity. An opportunity for us to make a difference in our governance and our economic management. We shall reset our dear nation, Ghana.
After his inaugural speech, Mahama received congratulatory greetings from heads of states and governments.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Including President William Ruto, who was flanked by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. 65-year-old Mahama, who was previously Ghana's president between July 2012 and January 2017, succeeds President Nana Akufo-Addo. Opicho Chemtai for Prime Edition. Let me be the first.
From Ghana, back to Nairobi, and it's 20 minutes past the top of the hour.
Apart from that, it's Tuesday, and we have the military tales. Tonight, we are featuring Odinga Elijah. Tom, we will be telling you...
Which one? Yeah. Those details coming up after this short break, so do stay with us.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Hiyo boom experience pia iko.
Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back to Prime Edition. Our socials at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, X, and YouTube.
Now, women devotees from the Hindu community throughout the country gathered at the Baps Swaminarayan Temple in Nairobi, Kenya to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the temple's inauguration.
The celebration marks a significant milestone in the community's journey of devotion, spirituality, and service.
Here is that report.
In a vibrant celebration at the BAPS Swaminarayan Temple in Nairobi, women of all ages came together to display their talents and acts of service, transcending their diverse roles in society.
We wanted to involve all the female devotees who reside far and wide in Kenya. Devotees from Nakuru, Kericho, Kisumu, Eldoret, Kitale, also Mombasa.
The event, held under the theme Chaitanya Mandir, which translates to making a temple within, emphasized the importance of inner spiritual development.
The session encouraged us to focus on spiritual growth, strengthening our values, and how we can positively contribute to the world and family around us.
In today's society, they play multiple roles in their lives, as from work to family to home, they play a lot of roles in their life. So this event is basically to gather women from all over the country and remind them and show them the importance of self-care.
This lively occasion showcased a captivating mix of cultural expressions, including live stage dramas centered on themes of resilience and empowerment, thought-provoking video presentations, and mesmerizing cultural dances.
The program beautifully integrated the theme through skits, motivational talks, and personal stories that highlighted how women can nurture their temple within.
We have been involved in all the videos that were shown today, all the pictures that were shown, as well as all the content that was shown, which showed that how this mandir has benefited the youth of our community in terms of leadership skill, in terms of the communication, in terms of their productivity. The girls especially learned so much through just one program.
Designed to inspire women to prioritize spiritual growth, uphold strong values, and make meaningful contributions to their families and communities, the event was a true celebration of women's strength.
A lot of people were involved, a lot of kids were involved in the dances, in the choreography, in making of some of the props, in some of the design of the costume, as well as the script.
The national chairperson of the Hindu Council of Kenya, Sujata Kautamraju, who graced the event, highlighted the importance of passing down cultural traditions to future generations through such events, while also imparting essential life lessons to the youth.
Culture is very, very important. Whatever culture it is, to maintain that culture is very important for the youth and the children. I always encourage the people to showcase our traditions and cultures, and you pass on to the next generations.
For Prime Edition, I'm Christine Matunda.
Let's now move from those celebrations to the counties where at least 1,500 children in Murang'a County will benefit from bursary funds amounting to 6 million shillings, courtesy of Nduti Tea Factory.
Each student drawn from tea growing zones in the region will receive 4,000 shillings in a move aimed at easing the financial burden on parents.
Details of this and more in our county's News Roundup.
During the issuance of the bursary checks, the parents expressed the gratitude to the management of the Nduti Tea Factory for investing in their children's education.
In terms of fertilizer, of course, we continue to ask the government to give subsidies because it is a big chunk of the farmers' money that goes into buying fertilizer. When the farmer produces more because they have fertilizer, the country gains in terms of getting more foreign exchange. So we all are going to gain in the fact that the government continues to give us the subsidy, the money to subsidize the cost of the fertilizer.
Elsewhere, parents drawn from the Kuria community in Migori County have been challenged to take an active role in educating girls on the effects of female genital mutilation.
The fate of these girls after circumcision is unpredictable. It is something that we have to come back to the tables and consider how we are going to do it again, because they have been pushed back again to what they had overcome.
Kifika mahali akishafanyiwa ifujie mwanaenda, mzazi anashindwa atafanya nini? Lakini wazazi tukumbuke kwamba sisi ndio hufanya hawa watoto wanakosa kuendelea na shule. Na sio kwamba ni watoto wasichana pekee, hata watoto vijana.
And members of Siaya County Assembly have been urged to urgently pass the pending Widows Protection Bill. Game West member of County Assembly Susan Okwiri says if enacted, the law will give widows in the county a chance to fully enjoy their rights.
We want the widows of Siaya at least to have something. We want the bill to go through so that they can have their rights, we can check on their welfare, and we can give them a lot of things, so that they be stable and live like any other person.
Finally, in Homa Bay, county environmentalists in the region hosted a tree planting event at the Raila Amolo Odinga Stadium to celebrate the birthday of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
As we mark the birthday of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, let each and every one of us plant at least a tree.
John Kahiro, Prime Edition.
On to our weekly favorite segments, Military Tales. In early 2000, when the world was ushering the digital era, the Kenya Defence Forces was among the first agencies in the country to digitize their operations and records.
Warrant Officer 2 retired Daniel Odinga Elijah served the Kenya Army, beg your pardon, for 33 years, and he was among the soldiers tasked with ensuring that all details were digitally captured to make access and storage a lot easier.
Odinga had a sit-down with Ben Troinjue in his home in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County for this week's edition of
Military Tales.
About 19 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi, we are in Ongata Rongai to visit a former army officer, Warrant Officer 2 retired Daniel Odinga Elijah, who served in the 66th Artillery Battalion and later on the 7th Kenya Rifles Battalion.
My name is Daniel Odinga Elijah. Elijah is my father's name and also my surname. I was born 61 years ago. My home is in Siaya, Game in particular. I had a passion of the uniformed. I was a scout, a patrol leader, and I really loved working and also being part of the uniformed team.
After his primary and secondary education, Odinga, who had a dream of becoming a soldier, had a chance to join the army.
15th December of 1985 is the time that we joined. We reported to AFTC Lanet. We were the last lot that were trained there, but after the training, we were the first people again to pass out in the new ground that is cemented and tarmacked. The training was very tedious because what they are saying in Kiswahili, wanatoa uraia kwa miguu na kwa mikono. I was posted to 66 Artillery Battalion, where I also trained as a gunner. And also my line in that gun, I was a layer, the person who lays and also calls for that shot. Fire! Beside being trained as a gunner, I was also one of the footballers in artillery. It was called Barrel FC. I joined just a few months and then I left because of the nature of my faith. Most of the training were done on Saturday.
Still at the Artillery Battalion, he joined the clerical department where he also got his first rank.
I did an interview for the clerical and we came to Nairobi for the clerical course. And after that, then I was promoted to corporal in the year 1991. So 1991 as a corporal and also as part of the clerical team, I was appointed as the registry clerk. I did that for some time, And then later on, I was taken to another section as the typist, as the battalion typist. Then after that, I was removed to that place to a company. Now I was now manning my own company, was the clerk for that company. After that, still in the artillery still, but yeah, still in the artillery, still in Gilgil, and still in the same 66 Artillery Battalion. And then from there, when now I was being promoted to sergeant, I was transferred now to a different place and a different section to the Western Command. By that time, it was stationed at Lanet.
One of his big break as a clerical officer in the army was in the year 2004, when the digital era was at its infancy. He was transferred to the Kenya Defence Forces headquarters as a computer operator.
I came to Nairobi to KCCT, Rongai, where I also took some courses, packages of computer packages. I was posted to Army headquarters as a computer operator. We were again part of the team that started putting records of all the personnel in the defense forces in soft copy. It wasn't easy because we were given targets. The target was 12 records, doing 12 records of persons in a day was not that easy.
For his next promotion, he was transferred to the 7 Kenya Rifles, famous the Maroon Commandos in Langata Barracks, as a documentation clerk and trainer.
We stayed there for more than at least around 4 years, and then I was taken to now 7 Kenya Rifles as a documentation clerk. I was also in charge of training my juniors. Since I had mastered service law, because that was part of my training, I used to train or to educate young soldiers on the element of laws in the armed forces. Then from there, I was promoted to Warrant Officer Class 2, and now I went back to Army headquarters. From there, I was removed from that section to be the chief clerk of IPPD section. I was once again transferred to Isiolo, Combined Arms Training Center, as the chief clerk. So that is where I stayed up to the year 2021, when now I retired. So I retired having served in the army for 33 years and 64 days.
As a staunch Seventh-day Adventist, he explains how he balanced his faith and duties.
One is the element of being faithful to my God. I was one of the people who, for sure, were almost throughout were given permission to go and worship outside. Even when I was in Army headquarters, they really encouraged me to continue serving the Lord while also serving my country there.
Oginga outlines the qualities his demanding work called for.
One, to be a disciplinarian, time-keeping, being honest.
What are some of the values he picked up in the army?
It taught me how to manage my time and value that time. That is one. Secondly is the discipline. When you are disciplined, one, you are self-controlled. You control yourself.
Having served in a peace mission, he rallies Kenyans to always maintain peace.
2003, we went to Sierra Leone. For Sierra Leone, we stayed there for almost a year. Let us embrace peace. Without peace, there is no development. Without peace, there is no growth whatsoever. Staying and living with one another as a brother is very important. We need to live with each other as brothers and sisters. So let us value peace.
A family man and a father of 4 notes the strong pillar his family has been over the years during his work schedule.
I value very much my family. The family after God. It is God first, the family, and then now your profession can come in. Beautiful wife, and also blessed with 4 beautiful daughters. We don't have that barrier in terms of culture that because I have only daughters, they can only share with their mother. No, because we bonded while they were young. So that is how they know that I'm there, even when I was in the forces.
The 61-year-old veteran is now into business and farming. He's also heavily involved in church and community leadership. Later on, we have a sit-down in his house where he takes us through some of the awards acquired over the years and some memories. Military service is a challenging and fulfilling duty, and this veteran epitomizes workmanship, faith, and diligence in service. For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
39 minutes past the top of the hour. Time for a second break here on Prime Edition.
When we return, we'll be bringing you the sports and business news. Betty Kiptum and Bernardo Kochokumu are already in studio. Stay with us.
Ni sahi ishafika na ni kubwa kubwa. Kweli? Hii Kristi ni bomba na Blue Santa kupitia star 570 hash option 1. Rudia. Star 570 hash option 1. Iko PlayStation 5 na 55 inch TV na iko 500,000 Kenyan shillings. Na mbuzi moja? Na mbuzi. 1 million Kenyan shillings na Samsung S24 Ultra. Na mbuzi moja? Iko 2 million Kenyan shillings na iPhone 16 Pro Max. Na mbuzi mbili? Blue Santa amekuja na zawadi kibao. Nani kubwa kubwa? Hapa kuna ndogo ndogo. Hapa Christmas ni bomba.
But guys, that lady has a very nice figure. Yani ameua kuua.
Do I look like a light-skinned Tupac or a Dr. Dre?
Now that is what we call swag, teacher. Hey!
You know, my ex-wife wants to come to my house tomorrow to wish me happy birthday personally.
The same day you are meeting Santa?
Yes, can you imagine?
Have you ever seen a little sense of fashion? What a comeback. In fact, that's the best comeback you've ever made.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for watching Prime Edition. Time to get the latest in the world of business. My name is Betty Kiptum. A tea levy is set to be introduced next month to raise cash to fund marketing of Kenyan tea in the international market. Tea Board of Kenya Chief Executive Officer, that is Willy Mutai, says the tea levy will be capped at 1% of the total sales.
The Tea Board of Kenya is finalizing stakeholder participation into proposals to introduce the tea levy to be charged on total sales. Some farmers and value chain players are opposed to introduction of the levy, arguing that it will eat into their earnings. However, supporters led by the Tea Board of Kenya say the tea levy is necessary to fully operationalize the Tea Act, as well as fund the marketing of Kenyan tea globally.
If we push the average price for the country to be $3.2, the levies will go up to 2.8 billion. If we don't push, the levies will still remain at below 1 billion. So the more we put a push for the price earning, the more we'll get the levies. So, and that's also the industry will appreciate. They will not feel the pain.
If adopted, the tea levy is likely to come into effect as soon as next month.
It should be operationalized by this month, because what's only remaining is an industry to accept. I think the only remaining people are now the people in the trade.
Mutai has underscored the need to enhance marketing of Kenyan tea as a way to drive up demand and prices.
And again, that will allow us to really expand our market, to use the same levies with the industry, because we assume, or we know that the board that will be running Tea Board of Kenya will come from the stakeholders.
Enforcement of quality standards for green leaf being picked is being stepped up to address cases of unsold tea at the Mombasa tea auction.
7 regulation. One is the green leaf guidelines, which is under public participation, and the stakeholders have agreed the minimum leaf that can be pushed or used at the respective factory that can be manufactured.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And the Shimoni Fish Port is on course for completion by March this year. Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki says the 2.6 billion shillings Shimoni Fish Port encompasses a modern jetty, fish landing site, warehouse, fish processing plant, a cold storage and other support amenities.
Targets to expand the contribution of the blue economy value chain to the country's gross domestic product from the current 37 billion Kenya shillings to 150 billion shillings by the year 2027. Part of the efforts to facilitate this involves facilitating the fisher folk to acquire modern fishing boats and gear for deep sea fishing.
The other interventions, of course, the other fish ports which we are constructing in other parts along the coastline, and also on the Lake Victoria Blue Economy ecosystem. We are also investing in so many other initiatives.
Shimoni Fish Port, whose construction is scheduled to be completed in March this year, is expected to create jobs and enhance household incomes.
This is a program, a project which speaks to the commitment of this government to improve the livelihoods of the people of Kenya, to empower communities, to create jobs for young people.
Ile kitu ambayo nataka ni kuhakikishie na nihakikishie viongozi wa Kwale ni kwamba hayo maagizo ambayo mumepeana yatakamilishwa bila wasiwasi, bila tashwishi.
Tumengoja sana Shimoni Fish Port ikamilike ili vijana waweze kuingia hapa, na tunashukuru pia kupitia Wizara ya Miti kampuni nyingi sasa zimeendelea kuingia Kwale.
Professor Kindiki made the remarks when he toured and assessed the progress of the ongoing construction works of the Shimoni Fish Port. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
And private sector activity expanded marginally last month, supported by increased customer sales. This is according to the latest Stanbic Purchasing Managers Index that posted a reading of 50.6 in December, down from a reading of 50.9 in November 2024. Purchasing Managers Index readings above 50.0 signal an expansion in activity.
The positive Purchasing Managers Index reading was driven by 3 of its subcomponents, as output, new orders, and employment all expanded for the 3rd straight month. This marked the first full quarter of private sector output growth since the final quarter of 2021. New orders grew moderately in December 2024, with the upturn easing from November. Those surveyed said there was an improvement in purchasing power by customers, alongside new bookings and successful advertising campaigns. The rise in demand helped to sustain the current trend of input buying growth in December 2024, with a rise in purchases registered for the 5th month in a row. The latest Stanbic Purchasing Managers Index survey shows a build-up of price inflation in December 2024 as a sharp increase in input costs led private sector firms to raise selling prices at the quickest rate since December 2023. The pickup in cost burdens in 2024 came as sustained growth in new orders and business activity prompted the fastest expansion in input buying since September 2022. Despite this, only 5% of surveyed firms expect output to rise, pegging their optimism on planned business expansion and new products and services. Nduta Mukami for Prime Edition.
To aviation matters now, a US-based law firm representing families of victims in the Boeing crashes of Lion Air Flight 610 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 intends to pursue investigations against Boeing over the crash of Jeju Air Flight 2216 that claimed the lives of 179 people in Muan, South Korea last month. Investigations continue into the Jeju Air Boeing 737-800 crash at Muan International Airport in South Korea that claimed the lives of 179 people on 29th of last month, with a preliminary report expected to be released within 30 days of the crash, according to International Civil Aviation Organization standards. This report provides initial findings, including data from the digital flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, as well as basic facts about the flight and the circumstances of the crash. Rebecca Law Chartered argues that preliminary reports do not determine causes or assign blame. The firm, through its attorney Holly Christensen, says it intends to initiate legal action to investigate the potential of mechanical failure as the cause of the crash. Christensen wants investigators to examine all possible causes and avoid focusing exclusively on a bad strike or issues related to the runway design. She noted that during the investigation of Lion Air Flight 610, initial blame was placed on the pilots until Rebecca Law initiated legal action in the US that revealed Boeing had failed to warn and properly train pilots about changes to the MCAS system. The firm also plans to question Boeing's involvement in the investigation of Jeju Air Flight 2216, alleging conflict of interest. And a Tech for Nature project has been launched at the Kisite Mpunguti Marine Park and Reserve, seeking to enhance the monitoring and protection of coral reef and biodiversity. Huawei Kenya Media Director Hadija Mohamed Ahmed has underscored the importance of leveraging technology and innovation to solve pressing challenges, as well as strengthening the monitoring and management efficacy of protected areas.
Despite significant efforts to protect wildlife and preserve habitats, human-induced threats such as deforestation, pollution, and habitat destruction continue to threaten the delicate balance of ecosystems. Environmentalists believe technology holds the key to securing a sustainable future.
What we'll be doing here at the Kisite Marine Punguti Park in partnership with KWS and IUCN, we will install underwater cameras that will support in monitoring and evaluating the ecosystem in the marine park that is here.
Huawei Kenya and the International Union for Conservation of Nature, in partnership with Kenya Wildlife Services, have unveiled a Tech for Nature project to monitor and protect coral reef and biodiversity at Kisite Mpunguti Marine Park and Reserve in Kwale County.
This technology that we are bringing here is extremely important because it is actually the first one that is going to be used in Kenya in terms of marine conservation. The KWS has a lot of technology, cameras and all those outside on the terrestrial managed areas. But this will be the first kind of technology monitoring instrument, also data capturing and analysis.
The 3-year project is aimed at strengthening the monitoring and management efficacy of the protected area. The project will see underwater cameras, photogrammetry, and audio monitoring technologies deployed to monitor marine life, including the biomass and population of parrotfish.
On that note, we close the business news this evening on Prime Edition. But Bernardo Kumu, my colleague on the sports desk, is already looking dapper in his black suit, ready to play with the sports news. My name is Betty Kiptum. Do have yourself a lovely night.
Star 570 hash. Option 1 kuna PS5 na ni full package na inakuja na JBL Party Box. Hiyo boom experience pia iko.
And thank you so much for joining us for the latest from the sports world on Prime Edition this Tuesday evening. I'm Bernardo Kumu. And of course, we begin with the latest from Zanzibar, where the Mapinduzi Cup is ongoing and Harambee Stars did return to the winning ways after beating Tanzania 2-0 in their second match of the Mapinduzi Cup. Remember, they did begin their quest on Saturday when they were held to a 1-0 draw by Burkina Faso. Now they play Zanzibar in their final match on Friday. Of course, the matches are being played on round-robin basis, and the two teams at the end of the round-robin matches will meet in the final. That's on January 13th. Remember, these particular matches are being used to prepare the CHAN nations, that's Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, for the 2025 or 2024 delayed 2024 African Nations Championship, which will be happening from the 1st of February through to the 28th of next month. And the matches will be happening here in Nairobi as well as in Tanzania and Uganda. And of course, the draw for the same will be conducted on Wednesday. So keep it here on Channel 1. We'll be definitely bring you all the latest from the CHAN. Elsewhere, outgoing Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Kipchumba Murkomen, has officially handed over the ministry to the incoming CS, Salim Mvurya, who immediately embarked on the task ahead of ensuring that the stadia earmarked for next month's Africa Cup of Nations, CHAN, are ready to host the tournament as per the CAF deadline. Now, our sports reporter Daniel Mwendwa tells us more.
Early Tuesday morning, the new Cabinet Secretary, Salim Mvurya, accompanied by the outgoing Cabinet Secretary, Kipchumba Murkomen, toured the Kasarani Stadium to inspect the ongoing renovations ahead of the 2024 CHAN, slated for February. After the Kasarani inspection, they headed to Nyayo National Stadium to make sure that the ongoing works are also on track. They eventually ended up at the Talanta Plaza for the official handover, where the incoming Sports Cabinet Secretary, Salim Mvurya, noted that the renovations were going on well, with the constructors working tirelessly to beat the deadlines.
I will work with all of you in your different portfolios to ensure that I provide the necessary leadership support to realize the mandate and the responsibilities that you have in your different portfolios.
Outgoing Sports CS, who is now the Ministry of Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, added that the government will be working closely with federations to ensure that they promote all sports in the country and not just upcoming events.
I have always taken the view that it is better to consult, make the decision, let historians judge whether that decision was good or not.
The African Nations Championship will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania from 1st to 20th of February, with the draw set to be conducted next week on Wednesday at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Elsewhere, the national sevens rugby teams have resumed training in preparation for the various assignments this year in World Rugby, where they hope to come out shining. Now, Shujaa are in Nakuru, where they are preparing for the third leg of the HSBC Sevens series scheduled from the 24th through to the 26th of this month in Perth, Australia. The team is currently placed 11th on the standings, having collected just 11 points from Dubai and Cape Town. The Lionesses, on the other hand, are battling for promotion to the HSBC Sevens and are scheduled to take part in the opening rounds of the Challenger Cup in Cape Town in March this year, hoping to be among the top 8 nations to progress to the third round in Krakow, Poland. Meanwhile, the local rugby circuit resumes this weekend with a double-header pitting KCB against Mwamba, while Harlequins is set to play Impala in the Kenya Cup Derby.
favorite team and win big on MeChezoBet.com. Casino, Aviator, and other crash games also available at MeChezobet. Sign up today. This message has been approved by BCLB license number 664. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back. 3 FKF Kenya Premier League matches have been postponed from this weekend to the 22nd of this month as the FKF Premier League makes a return from the holiday break. KCB versus FC Leopards, Gor Mahia versus Sofapaka, and Kenya Police against Bandari are the matches that have been pushed forward.
Posta Rangers will host City Stars at the Kenyatta Stadium in the double-header on Saturday as Kenya's top flight makes a return after the holiday break. The game will precede the match between Talanta and Kakamega Homeboys on a day that will see a total of 3 matches being played. The other game will be played at Gusii Stadium between hosts Shabana and Tusker FC. With 3 matches postponed this weekend, Sunday will have a fixture card of only 3 matches. Ulinzi Stars will host Mara Sugar at the Dandora Stadium in the opening game on Sunday, kicking off before the game between Mathare United and Kariobangi Sharks. Sunday's third game will be played at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos between Bidco United and Murang'a Seal. KCB, who are scheduled to open match day 16 on Friday against AFC Leopards, will not be in action this weekend as it is one of the games that have been moved to the 22nd of this month. The other matches moved forward are between Gor Mahia and Sofapaka and Kenya Police against Bandari FC.
Across the borders, where Tammy Abraham's last-minute goal helped AC Milan snatch the Supercoppa Italia from the hands of rivals Inter Milan, whom they beat 3-2 in Riyadh last night. Well, and on that note is how we end it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Back to Mboya and Irene Muchuma for the remaining bits of this particular bulletin. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
It's a bit hot here.
Oh, quite hot.
Yeah, thank you, Bernardo Coach Okumu, for that sporty update. And of course, Betty Kiptum for doing a good job on the business segment. It's a bit hot inside here.
We also do appreciate your company and feedback on our social media platforms. That's KBC Channel 1. Quick acknowledgements. Kibet Kiri Festus, watching all the way from Molo. Wendo David, watching all the way from Nairobi County. And Godfrey Matu.
Brian Wahungu is appreciating us, is all the way in Maraka, Webuye, Samson, Abongo, Karo Mahiga, Nairobi, both in Nairobi, Ruben Ondieki, who is watching us from Kisii. You know what? To all our incredible digital family, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we also thank our viewers for making us their channel of choice. And here's the deal. I want to thank also the team in the back end. You don't get to see them. You get to see me and the lovely Muchuma Odim. So on their behalf, I want to thank you for watching. My name is Mboya, and I'm wishing you a pleasant evening. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya.
Good night. My name is Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Brian Murado. God bless you.
Bye-bye. Good girl.
favorite team and win big on MeChezobet.com. Casino, Aviator, and other crash games also available at MeChezobet. Sign up today. This message has been approved by BCLB license number 664. Gambling can be addictive. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply.
Say bye-bye to FOMO, the fear of missing out, by downloading the KBC Online app that gives you access to everything you love. Get the latest news, sports, music, entertainment news, live radio, and so much more at the palm of your hand. To get the app, simply search KBC Mobile Digital App in your Google Play or App Store and download the app. Catch what you want, anytime, anywhere. Stay connected. Stay ahead with KBC Mobile Digital App.
But guys, that lady has a very nice figure. Do I look like a light-skinned Tupac? Or a Dr. Dre?
Now that is what we call swag, teacher. Hey!
You know, my ex-wife wants to come to my house tomorrow to wish me happy birthday personally.
The same day you are meeting Santa?
Yes, can you imagine?
Have you ever seen a little sense of fashion? What a comeback. In fact, that's the best comeback you've ever made.
My heart is broken and it's calling out your name.
Katika mlango wa kuwafanyia wazazi wema, tumeamrishwa tuwaheshimu na pia tuwakirimu na tuwazungumzishe kwa kauli za heshima na pia kauli zenye kuwaonyesha kuwa tunawapenda hata watakapokuwa wao ni wazee.
Na wazazi wawili kuwafanyia wema. Lakini mu'sifun jiddan, inasikitisha mno sana annajida tupate mtu na hiyo ndo wake.
Allahumma salli ala sayyidina ya Mustafa.
Yes, ndani ya studio niko na watatu hawa. ikiwa mwaka mpya imeanza, si ndio? Majina ni nani?
Naitwa Faith Wanjiru.
Faith, kutoka eneo gani?
Nimetoka eneo la Banana.
Aha. Sababu yako ya kucheza Loto Moto ni gani?
Ni boost biashara.